Hello and welcome to another MX5 parts video. If you've watched the rest of this series, you'll know we've been having some bodywork repairs done to the car you see here, which, as you can probably tell, are all now done and dusted. Happy days on that score, but I thought I'd just fill you in on the whole story and talk a little bit more about what we did and how we did it. As you'll know, rust is an issue most owners of Mark 1, Mark 2 or even Mark 3 MX5s will probably have to face at some point, and there's no getting away from it. It's not the most fun job to have to tackle on your car. It's expensive, it's time consuming, and actually finding someone with the right knowledge or even inclination to do the job can be tricky. I found those guys in the shape of Deep Car Autobodies in Sheffield, who are pretty well known on the MX5 scene and literally know the cars inside out. There will likely be someone like them wherever you happen to live, so before you get started on something like this, it's worth asking around on forums or social media to get some recommendations on the basis the community will know who the good guys are and point you in the right direction. Given these jobs can take a bit of time, it's also worth striking up a relationship with whoever you get to do it, taking the car to them and actually discussing what you think needs doing and what they reckon might actually be required, because the two might not be the same. Given the nature of the work, many body shops will probably be booked up as well, and you might need to plan ahead for when you want them to do the job and when you can afford to have the car off the road for a bit. In the case of this car, it was pretty clear it was going to need some new rear quarters here. And I made sure that these were available on MX5 parts first of all, which thankfully they were. From there, I took the car down to Deep Car for them to assess it. Having worked on it before, they had a sense of what was lurking under the paint on the old wings here, but it was still quite a scary moment handing a car over knowing it's basically going to be pulled apart, and only then will you actually know what the work will entail. You can see what we found in the first of the 3 videos, but thankfully the news wasn't quite as bad as it could have been, and it turned out the sills and the overall structure behind them were sound, so the car was worth saving, which was a relief. But it wasn't going to be a small job. In the second video, we saw the Deep Car guys spot welding the new rear quarters into place, having done a load of prep work around the back end of the car to get it ready. The spot welding process is both faster for them, but also results in a more original look, given it's the same process as the factory used back in the day, and you get these correct dimples with the spot welds where the panels are welded together. If we look in the boot, we can see that they've also cleaned up all that horrible squidgy filler that was down here and been put over the dodgy repair on the boot floor and from where the rust was spreading underneath. It looks so much better in here now, and the smell of fresh paint is actually rather nice. It looks all fresh in the wheel arches as well, and if not as new, it looks at least as it should do. So, how much did all this cost, you'll be asking? Well, by its nature, bodywork is a tricky one to price on the basis you quite often don't know how big the job is going to be until you've passed the point of no return. And that's part of the problem, because it's very easy to end up looking at a job that could cost more than a car like this is actually worth, which sadly is why so many MX5s end up prematurely scrapped on the basis it seemingly doesn't make financial sense to save them. And no, I'm not going to put a number on this job, because part of the essential coping mechanism is viewing money as an abstract. Suffice to say though, while you can do a patch-up job on sills or a wing for a few £100s here or there, this was, well, it was more than that. But you have to take a bigger picture with these things sometimes, and if your MX5 means more to you than just pounds and pence, and hopefully it does, the investment in having something done properly feels worthwhile. Certainly the lesson learned here was that asking somebody to paint over a previous bodge in an attempt to save a few quid came back to haunt me, and I should have just bitten the bullet at the time and ordered the panels the first time. Because if a job's worth doing, it's worth doing right. And when it comes to bodywork, the sooner you deal with issues, the less painful it will be in the long run. Certainly it's a healthy reminder to keep on top of things, and a few simple preventative measures can hopefully keep your car sound before the need for doing something drastic. If you've not already got one of these brushes for cleaning out your hood drain holes, that is probably one of the best things you can buy for your car in MX5 parts, while keeping it clean and making sure there's no build-up of compacted dirt on the inside of the wheel arches here should help stave off rust appearing in that common spot. And if you're buying a car, there's still enough around that you can afford to be fussy about what you're getting, and only put your money down having done a thorough inspection of every last nook and cranny. Most Mark 1s and Mark 2s will likely have had some sort of bodywork repair done on them over the years, so it's just a case of assessing whether it was a proper job or a quick bodge just to get it through an MOT. So there we go, something of a horror story perhaps, but one that has ultimately had a happy ending and has resulted in another Mark 1 saved from the scrap heap, which I think we can all agree has to be a good thing. I hope this series has been useful, and if you have any specific questions, feel free to pop a comment in below the video and I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe for more content like this from MX5 Parts, and I'll see you for the next one. Bye bye.